Hey, welcome to the HealthLinks podcast, provided by the HealthLinks family of services. I'm your host, DJ Thatcher. Our mission here is to engage in conversations about the health and medical landscape of South Carolina so that we're all better informed. In this episode, it's related to health, but in a very fun way. There is a new high-end senior community coming to downtown Charleston. And with us today, we have Paige Crone, the Director of Marketing and Sales for what is known as the Peninsula of Charleston. Paige, welcome to the HealthLinks podcast.
Well, thank you, DJ. I'm a big HealthLinks fan, so I'm glad to be here.
Terrific. So we're not talking about a medical condition or anything else. This is really a lifestyle podcast, isn't it? And tell us about the Peninsula of Charleston.
Yeah, so the Peninsula of Charleston, we like to say it's not your mama's retirement community.
Right, for sure.
Right. So the trend in senior living now is very high-end luxury properties that are called life plan communities because we offer independent living and then the full continuum of healthcare in the same community. But the Peninsula is very different because it is downtown on King Street, which we don't have any life plan communities downtown on the Peninsula. And also it's an equity model, which means you own your condo. So you're not leasing or you actually own it, which gives you a ton of flexibility. You can sell it or leave it in your will or sell it to help pay for healthcare when the time comes.
And just to back up, by the way, all of our podcasts are video based. So, of course, you can tune in and watch and see Paige. And just as important, also see some pictures of what the Peninsula will look like. And I say will look like because it's not there yet if you go down King Street, right, Paige?
Right. We are breaking ground next year. So, and if you do have a picture up of the Peninsula, you'll see it's beautiful. It's a traditional architecture designed by Robert A.M. Stern out of New York, which actually brings a lot of clout with it. Some people are familiar with his work. The Kiowa Ocean Course Club was designed by him, as well as some of the properties downtown already in what we call Courier Square. And that would include the Gray Star headquarters and the Guild. So he's done a lot of work here locally already, but he's known internationally. So people are impressed by that. But the real thing that we are proud to have is these wonderful high-end condos that will live like it'll be lock and leave. It will be peace of mind. There'll be high-end amenities. And of course, that full continuum of care on the second floor.
Mm-hmm. So just to clarify again, first of all, Charleston is a go-to destination, still one of, if not the most popular place to relocate in the U.S. So of course, we have a listenership throughout South Carolina, but people come from all over to live here. And so this gives people who have done well in their life, they've planned well. It gives them an option to live in a terrific place in downtown Charleston. And to clarify, this is not like a community in which you turn over all of your investments and savings and they take care of you for life. This truly is a condominium ownership. Is that correct?
You're absolutely right, DJ. So this is not a buy-in or a lease model. You own it like a condo. We're part condo, so part real estate, if you will, and then part healthcare, which gives us we're in a whole different kind of category. So you're not paying for anything you may not ever use up front. It's pay as you go once you use our healthcare on the second floor, or it's your home. If you wanted to have in-home healthcare, you can do that too. Again, you just have to think of it like your home in your beautiful condo downtown on King Street. But you happen to have this wonderful safety net. We have a lot of sexy amenities, but the really important amenity is the healthcare. That gives you peace of mind, and that's what you're buying into.
Right. Sell us on the sexy aspect of it first. So first of all, as you can see in the picture, if you're looking at it, it's about 7 stories, absolutely gorgeous. But tell us about the number of units and that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, the sexy amenities I was referring to, we'll have several restaurants in the community. So fine dining, informal dining, a club and club lounge and bar, which is extremely important in Charleston, parking, underground parking, and then some of our
even more important in Charleston, by the way.
Even more important in Charleston. But some of our really fun amenities would be like our golf simulator. Yes, I said golf simulator.
Wow.
We'll have a heated saltwater pool and jacuzzi. Of course, we have a full workout room. We have a whole state-of-the-art gym, and we have programs to help people kind of stay where they are or even get better. That's a huge part of aging gracefully. And we have a population that is doing that, and they're staying healthier longer and living longer lives and enjoying those lives, not just, it's not a place where people are going to go and be sedentary. It's a vibrant place. And the people that we're seeing are really vibrant people that are involved in the community. They're still on boards. Some of them still work because they want to. They've had fabulous careers, as you may mention, or they've just saved well and they can do this. And it's going to be a great community.
Wow. Tell us, or pinpoint rather for us, where it will be on King Street, so we get some lay of the land, so to speak.
Right. It's on Upper King. So it's across from, if you're familiar with Charleston, it's now an empty parking lot, and it's across from what is the Post and Courier buildings. Those were the buildings they used for the paper, and then also the press next door. So we will be actually part of a whole reimagined district of Charleston that will be called Courier Square. And Courier Square is actually going to be about 13 acres of redevelopment, and that will include the Low Country Low Line that's a block and a half away from our front door, which is a wonderful linear park, much like the Low Line in Chicago or the High Line in New York, but also a lot of public realm space. And I know that word. I learned that word from Scott Parker, who is with Design Works, an incredible landscape architect who has a vision for our green space in the peninsula, as well as this whole Courier Square. So in Courier Square, we already have Gray Star headquarters and the Guild. There'll be another Gray Star building to the north of the peninsula, and then a lot of high-end shopping, new restaurants, workspace, and then probably a luxury hotel. So those are a little bit more in the future than the peninsula, because we are, we're ready to go. We have most of our BAR approvals are in place, except those little tiny cherries on the top that include things like retractable awnings and, brick selections and things like that. But we've done the work. It's been, I think, probably about a 2.5, 3-year process getting through the BAR, and we're really, really proud of the changes we've made. One of the changes includes picking up the facade of a building that is right at the terminus of King and Columbus and moving it down the street and incorporating it with our building. So we're saving this facade that the BAR deems important, and we do too, because I'm a native Charlestonian, so I like keeping Charleston. And then our building runs from King all the way back to St. Philip Street. So that side of the building melds in much better with Elliott Borough and Cannon Borough. It's on scale with the neighborhood. It's much more colloquial and in keeping with all the single family homes and the nice little restaurants and shops. So it's not like a big structure, in the middle of the neighborhood. So we've worked really hard to make it feel like it absolutely belongs, and that it will forever and ever. Like looks like it will look like it could have been here, and hopefully will continue to look like that. I will also mention that it's based on Robert A.M. Stern, kind of looked back into the history books and based the design on the old Charleston orphan house. And that was on Calhoun, and it was destroyed in the 50s.
Wow. You talk about the BAR, the Board of Architectural Review, of course, in Charleston, a very strong board. And so this does need to fit in. I know yet it's taking on the look, or at least the tower portion of that, of the old building that you're talking about. Isn't that right?
Yeah, like I said, it was based on the old orphan house. It just so happens that my company, Liberty Senior Living, we have cupolas on top of nearly every main building in our community. So it was actually a perfect fit to have this beautiful cupola at the top of this gorgeous building. But, I mentioned my company, Liberty Senior Living. They're a 4th generation family owned company, as is our partner in this, which is EPI, Evening Post Industries. Courier Square that I mentioned earlier is a subsidiary of EPI. So, and that family has been in Charleston since the 1730s. And obviously they're very well respected. They've owned this piece of land for a while now and been working on this whole vision for Courier Square for over a dozen years. So very well thought out, well planned out development going on here that will make Charlestonians proud of what's going on. King.
Yeah, so
and it'll
important.
be a great place to live.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's so important to have those local roots, including yourself. You mentioned you're a native Charlestonian. How did you get involved in this project?
Well, I got a phone call one day and I thought, senior living, I had never thought about that. I hadn't had much experience in that, but I do have experience in marketing and sales in my past. So I have a 30-year career that was behind me and had the right skills. And I think they liked the fact that someone was from Charleston and knew some Charleston folks. So that was really nice. It's been very well received. And I get asked all the time about who is coming to us and who will make up this community. So again, I would mention that these folks are vibrant and young. There will be Charlestonians, people who've lived in Charleston, have a connection in Charleston and love Charleston. We were featured in the Wall Street Journal 2 weeks ago. So our phones have been ringing off
Nice.
the hooks, also from folks from off that find this very attractive. We love to say folks from off if they're not from Charleston, but
I
they find this
understand.
very
Yeah,
attractive. And a great investment. And it's keeping their estate together. So they're not, you're not breaking up monies in different pots. You've got that estate together that will, again, can be left as an inheritance, or your children can sell it. Or you can, like I said, sell it to help pay for your health care on the second floor.
sure, sure. What was the Wall Street Journal angle though? What was that all about?
Well, the angle was about these high-end that I think I mentioned at the top of the show, these high-end senior living communities
Mm-hmm.
that are really in demand and exploding all over the country. They're not
Okay.
necessarily all equity models, but some of them are. But again, just embracing, these folks have had, they've worked hard and they're in a position where they can really enjoy their retirement. And they want all these luxury 24/7 concierge, which we have, and then a valet, and just a long list of things that they find attractive, including like the lock and leave aspect. If they travel a
Sure.
lot, we take care of all the interior and exterior maintenance. We handle, when you pay your monthly fee, it includes all the utilities, it includes food and alcohol, which Charlestonians love to know that the bar tab will be included. They'll have declining food and bar balance. But all kinds of things are taken care of so that when they move to the peninsula, they're really, with that monthly fee, not having to pay all the maintenance costs for their own house that they might be doing right now, or
Sure.
worry about it. So right now we're in the position where we're taking $10,000 totally refundable deposits to get on our priority list. And
Okay.
that's the word I'd like to get out today. Our priority list has been growing more and more rapidly since everybody came home from the summer, of course, from all their adventures. And then again, the Wall Street Journal and some of the local advertising we've done in Health Links and in the Post and Courier and the Mercury. So locals are seeing it as well as folks in other markets, and we've really picked up. But before the
Good.
end of this year, we'll be starting to convert folks from our priority partners, we call them, if they've paid that $10,000 deposit, to owners. And that means they will have paid the $10,000 down payment, the deposit, to secure their pre-construction pricing, and then also their actual location in the building, because there are 74 floor plans for 148 residences. So
Wow.
I know many of them are one of a kind.
Sure.
So folks are really wanting to lock in that particular model and make sure it's theirs.
All
But
right.
we are still continuing to take those $10,000 refundable checks into the future. And so what the first step is getting on that priority partners list.
Understood. All right. So what are the units like? You talked about a variety of floor plans available. What are they, Paige?
Well, we've talked about the word sexy a couple of times in this podcast, and I'll just say the large, sexy condos are probably going to be the first to go. 20 or so of them have large terraces. Some are extremely expansive, and some of them have terraces and balconies, but every single condo has a wonderful usable balcony. So I'm not talking about a Juliet balcony. I'm talking about a usable, 6x12, just median there,
Nice.
balcony that they can get air, they can go outside, they can use that space. And some of the other features would include just the high end, will probably have about 3 different levels of appliances they can choose from.
Okay.
Yes. And then also there are different palettes they can choose from. They can choose to use our palettes, or they can bring in their own designers. Again, it's their condo. They don't have to, if they want to do, something that we are not offering, they have the freedom to do that. We just, like them to keep in mind the resale aspect of it. We have folks that are combining 2 condos to make a bigger condo, so that they have a large expansive terrace. So really, there's not a bad one. And I mean, I feel like they're all my children since I've been talking about
I can understand. We can hear it in your voice. Yeah, your passion for it.
Well, I've been working on the building a long time, and I talk about it every day. So I do feel that passion for it. And I think it's going to be an absolutely spectacular addition to Charleston and just a great place to live.
Sure. So what are the square footage options roughly?
Yeah, so they start at about 775 square feet.
Okay.
They go all the way past 2,800 square feet. So,
Okay.
They grow quite large. But I will say, the prices are commensurate. So we start at $775,000 for that smaller condo and go all the way up to over $4 million. But I would say the median is really like 1.7 or 2. We have a lot in that range, but there's kind of, like I said, something for everybody. And I don't think you'll be walking into your friend's condo for a visit and saying, "Oh, this looks just like mine." There aren't going to be a lot of cookie cutter condos, so it will really feel custom to that family.
Sure. Now, of course, this is the Health Links podcast. So tell us more about the health services will be offered. You mentioned the second floor, and that's all the healthcare area, I take it, right?
That's absolutely right. So we will have over 60 beds, so to speak. And I know that's not an attractive term maybe to some people, but what I'm trying to say is that we will have more places than we should ever need given our population. So we'll be offering, the full continuum of care. Memory care is really in need right now. I mean, I've heard a doctor refer to memory care or dementia or Alzheimer's as type 3 diabetes. So, that's something people want to know that we have. We have a beautiful memory care garden that we're building. And then that'll be a huge part of what we offer. And then the continuum of care. So assisted living and all the different levels of assisted living. And so the list goes on and on of what we'll offer, but you'll be able to say your spouse or you have to go to the hospital for surgery. Sometimes you kind of become a case number to the hospital when you're released, and they're like, where are we going to put this lady or gentleman while they're getting better and rehabbing, and where am I going to go? There might be a bed available really far away. Keep in mind, our population in Charleston is growing. A lot of them are older people. If you live at the Peninsula, you're going back home. You're coming back home to the Peninsula. And I always like the whole idea that I think a lot of the fear of going into, an assisted living community is that you'll be separated from your spouse. This is all under one roof. So you can go down, visit with your spouse, bring your spouse back up to your home if you want to. They don't have to feel separate from you. You don't have to have the stress of getting in the car and traveling to your loved one. It's all under the same roof. So it's really, that's a lovely component of it, is knowing that if you have to have surgery or go to the hospital for any reason, you're coming home to the Peninsula on that second floor. And like I said, you can see your spouse more often and your friends more often. And you're going home, and you know where that is.
That is a very unique model. And I take it the healthcare, even on that second floor, is not going to be kind of institutionalized. I imagine that's going to be just as nice as the rest of the building.
Well, absolutely right. I mentioned our company, Liberty Senior Living. They also own the Kempton on the Crosstown, and we also own South Bay. So if you've ever been to the Kempton's brand new, we opened it in April. So if you've ever been to the Kempton, you will see that it's quite luxurious. It looks like a little boutique hotel. And all the rooms are very well appointed and welcoming, and have, galley kitchens and that kind of thing. So I remember when my grandparents were, in their years of assisted living, and it looked like a hospital room. That is not the case anymore. You can bring your own items from your home, like things to make you feel comfortable, and that your own things are surrounding you. And like I said, in many cases, there are multiple rooms associated with where you're staying. So you can have like a little living area. And so it's not a hospital room. And they're very well appointed. And of course, DJ, state of the art. Everything's going to be brand new and state of the art. And Liberty Senior Living has an amazing track record of taking care of their folks in the highest level.
I've been to the Kempton, and it is gorgeous. I'm envious, and I'm wondering it's a senior living. What is the minimum age to buy in?
Well, you have to be 62 years or older to live in the Peninsula.
Okay.
But I always joke around. We do allow trophy wives, but they cannot be younger than 50.
Okay.
So if you're married,
you just said that and not me.
I know. But if you have, if your spouse is, 50 years old or older, they're welcome to come with you if you were 62 years or older.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Now, of course, you alluded to this, but just to drive home this point, the building is not there. The ground will not even be broken until 2024. Right. It is now the fall of 2023 that we're recording this. So why are we even bothering to talk about this right now? Drive home that call to action.
Absolutely. Yeah. So right now, you're right. There is nothing to look at. We kind of joke sometimes that we're selling air. That's what it is. It's an empty parking lot, basically, except for this piece of building that I talked about earlier. But now is the time to get on the list, because we are going to start converting before the end of this year, meaning we will start taking 10% down deposits, which lock in that particular condo for that family, and it locks in the pre-construction pricing. Another thing that we're offering right now, because we're selling air, is we include the membership fee, which is 10% of the value of your home. So all that will be built in your purchase price. You do not have to come out of pocket for that.
Nice.
Got a lot of perks that we're offering our founding family members, we call them. But now's the time. First of all, if you're older, you don't need to wait until you get any older. You need a plan. You need a plan for what's going to happen. You don't want to put that on your children. Trust me. And you and your spouse want to have a great life and live every single second of it without the stress of everyday, maintenance on your home and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So now's the time to think about that. And then if you're young, now's the time to get on our priority list, so that in the future, you'll be right up at the top. As we start reselling and condos become available, you'll be in our priority database, and we will, alert you to the fact that there are condos that will be coming available. So now's the time to learn about it. And more than anything, I think I would say, just have a plan. If the Peninsula is not for you, that's fine. It might not be for everybody, but just have a plan for, we don't predict when our loved ones are going to have a stroke or be diagnosed with a horrible cancer or something like that's going to happen. That really is everybody's life who loves you halts. What am I going to do with this person? How can I get this person the best care? Where can I, don't do that to yourself, and don't do that to your spouse, and don't do that to your family. Have a plan. And that's a big takeaway I hope to get across today as well.
That's great advice, Paige. Thank you for that. Now, even though the building is not there, you do have a physical presence downtown. How do we get a hold of you, and how do we know where to go?
Well, we do. We have a lovely, nearly 4,000 square foot showroom, or we like to call it our sales gallery, because it's so much more than an office. It's beautifully decorated to kind of help you feel the essence of what you might feel when you walk into the Peninsula. And what we're doing there, the reason we have so much space is because we're building our community there. For instance, tonight we're having a wine tasting for our priority partners. So they are gathering, they're getting to know one another, potential future neighbors. And we're watching them at these events that we're having in the space, and we're seeing these friendships and bonds already happening. And so, it's a while before they're actually going to be in that building, but we're trying to build that community now, so that when they're in that building, everybody knows one another and has a feeling of inclusivity, and they've had some experiences together, and they've chatted together and figured out their commonalities and that kind of thing. So that is really important too. That's another component of getting on the list, so that you get invited to all those things.
Yeah, that's just a terrific idea. So, yeah. Projected opening date when people can move in? Do you know yet, or is
end of 26, beginning 27?
Okay, so we're still a ways out, but this is good. It's a good time to plan.
It's a good time to plan, and like I said, just getting back to the gallery, it's at 573 King Street. So anybody's welcome to walk in anytime, or give us a call, or go on our webpage and fill out the web form, and we'll get you information. We'll call you. We'll connect with you. But 573 King is on the corner of King and Cannon, and it was the old Build-A-Bike shop. Doesn't look the same as it used to. But
Right.
if you're familiar with Charleston, it's at King and Cannon, which is just a block and a half from the building site.
Sure. And of course, we'll have the website information and phone number. But tell us the website one more time, just in case someone's listening and wants to look it up right away.
Right. It's the Peninsula of Charleston.com. So don't forget the.
Okay.
People call me all the time and it didn't pop up, but they didn't do the. So the Peninsula of Charleston.com is how they find us. And our phone number's on there. You can always call that as well.
All right.
And our office phone number for anybody listening is 843-638-6370.
So the Peninsula of Charleston. Paige Crone, thank you so much for joining us here on the Health Links podcast.
Thank you, DJ. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. Remember, our podcasts are also video-based, and so you can log in and not only hear our guests, but of course, see some of the pictures and video that go along with the subject as well. And as always, for any questions about our guest or for any comments or maybe suggestions for future podcasts, reach out to us at listen@healthlinkspodcast.com. I'm DJ Thatcher. Thank you for joining.